Welcome to Tzu Chi This week. I'm Anita Lee. It's good to have you with us. Coming up, we join Tzu Chi volunteers in China at their first ever Team Leaders Training Seminar, which kicked off in Xiamen. We see how a house in Taiwan more than a century old gets repaired thanks to the help of Tzu Chi volunteers. Finally, Tzu Chi volunteers in Indonesia help their care recipients pave the way towards a brighter future. Tzu Chi volunteers in Fujian, China recently held their first ever Team Leaders Training Seminar in Xiamen, which was joined by Dharma masters from the Jingsi abode, guest speakers from Taiwan, and more than 400 volunteers from different regions. Next, we meet some of the volunteers and see the obstacles they overcame to attend the event.
Arriving in Xiamen to attend Tzu Chi's Team Leaders Training Seminar are the Dharma Masters at the Jingsi abode, guest speakers from Taiwan, and more than 400 volunteers from 5 different cities in Fujian province. Despite having to take a 3-hour bus ride, volunteers from Fuding still happily put aside their busy schedules to join this meaningful event.
All the Tzu Chi sisters around my area came to attend this event, so I had to come. I would feel bad if I missed this opportunity.
Cradling her daughter while listening carefully to the lesson is Tzu Chi volunteer Xu Rongxing, who knows that this is an opportunity not to be missed.
I feel tired because I have to carry my daughter around. Although I'm not feeling well, I still need to seize this chance to absorb the Dharma.
Although suffering from a broken arm, Tzu Chi volunteer Li Yonghui's determination to attend the seminar never faltered.
We need more people to make our society a better place. When I came here, I realized that there are so many bodhisattvas in Fujian that are doing their part in making our society a better place. I am very proud to be one of them.
On the stage, a Dharma master from the Jingsi abode explains to participants how the organization started its charity and recycling missions through some old photos.
If media volunteers didn't capture these moments, we wouldn't know how hard it was to conduct relief work back then. Although being a media volunteer is tiring, I'll continue to shoulder this task and walk steadfast on the Tzu Chi path.
Before, many of us were just housewives. However, after I joined the Tzu Chi volunteers on home visitations, I realized that there are so many people that are living in hardship. These visits reminded us to cherish our blessings.
It has been more than 20 years since Tzu Chi first set foot in China. Over the years, local Tzu Chi volunteers have been spreading the organization's charity and recycling missions far and wide. Tzu Chi volunteer Hong Xiaohui of Zhangzhou hopes more people can join her in safeguarding the planet.
When I first started practicing recycling, I had to pile up all the recyclables given by members of the public in the hallway outside of my house. When I return home, I work even harder and encourage more to join me.
We want to share with our fellow counterparts ways to carry out Tzu Chi's charity and recycling missions.
Through their participation in the Team Leaders Training Seminar, the more than 400 volunteers at Fujian Province have gained the courage to further shoulder Tzu Chi's missions.
Since 2012, the Xiamen city government has partnered with the Tzu Chi Foundation to train nurses to care for patients in a way that is in line with the organization's ideals. Today, we take a look at how Zhu Wanxia, head nurse of Zhongshan Hospital, has led her nurses under the spiritual guidance of such ideals.
The Zhongshan Hospital, affiliated with Xiamen University, is one of the 7 Level 8 tertiary hospitals in Xiamen, China, which means it is one of the top hospitals in the country. Despite her busy work schedule, head nurse of Zhongshan's maternity ward, Zhu Wanxia, always arrives at work half an hour early. Throughout her time working at the hospital, Zhu Wanxia has managed to retain her original passion as a nurse.
还有适当要活动，要运动。没有啦，应该的啦，都是你们也很好，把我们也，对，都把我们
没有啦，也都是你们好，都是你们配合的，
服务很周到。
Many of the nurses here put forth the extra effort for their patients, all because of their daily morning meetings, which begin promptly at 8:10.
Today we are sharing Jingsi aphorisms. The aphorism today is, "Giving will reap the greatest harvest."
Sometimes it just takes a greeting to warm the patients up, especially when our head nurse goes to visit them in the morning. She will ask each patient if they slept well. It only takes a little bit more effort to make them feel good.
通过医学人文的一个
My nurses have changed since implementing these teachings into our medical practice. In the past, if there were no more patient beds available, they would not care. However, now they will ask me, what should we do? That person doesn't have a bed, he's a cancer patient and not from around here.
即便是有一天他退休了，他没有在。
When the day comes when she retires and isn't working here anymore, we'll still continue in her spirit to serve our patients.
Incorporating humanistic practices into the workplace, Zhou Wanxia leads her nurses and leaves her mark for the next generation to follow.
55-year-old Xiamen from Kaohsiung, Taiwan, suffers from chronic illnesses and is unable to maintain his home as a result of his poor health. When Tzu Chi volunteers learned of the man's situation, they mobilized to help him out. But first we joined volunteers in Tainan as they turned the squalid home of a solitary man into a spotless haven. This home, which is deteriorated beyond repair, has no roof, walls that are on the verge of collapse, and broken furniture everywhere. The only 2 inhabitable rooms are littered with clutter. As the homeowner, Mr. Liu, has no means to carry out repairs, he turned to his district township office for help. However, since Mr. Liu does not qualify for low-income subsidies, the district office referred this case to Tzu Chi.
We hope to provide him with a safe and more comfortable living environment and improve his living conditions. I'm truly grateful to the Tzu Chi brothers and sisters for their help as well as the love of Master Zeng Yan.
After evaluating the current condition of Mr. Liu's home, volunteers decided to build him a new home. Volunteers brought in a bulldozer to remove all the gravel. Next, some 30 volunteers set out to clear away the debris, salvaging the still usable bricks in the process.
This will come in handy when we start building the house. We will build a house on a raised foundation to keep out the flood waters.
Paying attention to even the smallest details, volunteers hope to provide Mr. Liu with a fresh start in the comfortable confines of his new home. 55-year-old Xiamen suffers from heart disease, cirrhosis, and other chronic illnesses, making him too weak to maintain his farmhouse and orchard. As the shed alongside the house is on the verge of collapse, today 18 volunteers came to help Xiamen carry out repairs. First, volunteers removed the rotted wooden pillars and replaced them with new ones. Although drenched in sweat, volunteers work without complaint to build Xiamen a safe and sturdy home. Inside the farmhouse, another group of volunteers are clearing out the clutter that has filled up every corner of the house.
Stand on the side. Where you are standing right now is collapsing.
When volunteers discovered that Xiamen's wooden bed frame is also in need of fixing, they immediately got it repaired. Just as the volunteers were finishing up, Xiamen returned home and was surprised to find his home spick and span again.
You volunteers have such big hearts coming all this way to help. I thank you on his behalf.
With the farmhouse restored to a clean state, the borrowhead expressed his deepest gratitude to the Tzu Chi volunteers for giving Xiamen a warm and inviting home to return to at the end of each day. 80-year-old Mrs. Tai lives alone with a 50-year-old diabetic son in a rented home that is over 100 years old in Taipei's Beito. As the house suffered damage in the recent spate of typhoons, the roof now leaks whenever it rains. Although usually unwilling to trouble volunteers with her problems, Mrs. Tai finally agreed to let the Tzu Chi volunteers come and fix her roof. Today, volunteers are here to patch up this tile roof of a house more than a century old.
We have to be careful up there because the tiles are really old and will break if we step too heavily on them.
Mrs. Tan, now 80, and her son have been renting this home for the past 30 years. It was only recently that they decided to accept the volunteers' help to fix some of the house's bigger problems.
She doesn't want to be a bother for others. She knows we have done a lot on her behalf and tries to do whatever she can by herself. But this roof is too big of a job for her. So she came to us for help, and we came to assess the situation.
There was a roof here before, and I worry things will start to slowly fall from above.
After fixing the holes in the roof, volunteers also patched up Mrs. Tai's waterlogged ceiling. Although the senior hoped to pay the volunteers for their work, they refused to take a cent.
I want to pay you something. If I pay for it, I'll feel better. All of you have been working so hard to help me. You have done so much for me.
Surrounded by modern-day apartments, with just a little TLC, the century-old house is ready to stand for another 100 years. Prior to the volunteer training seminar and the Tzu Chi volunteer certification ceremony held at the Jingsi Hall in Jakarta, Indonesia, 125 volunteers gathered to give the venue a thorough cleaning.
Inside the Jingsi Hall in Jakarta, Indonesia, more than 100 volunteers have arrived to give the venue a thorough cleanup before the upcoming volunteer training seminar.
I am very happy, but I'm a bit tired. All of us are happy.
Although they have a large area to cover, they left no corners and edges uncleaned. Budiarto Lim's family of 4 also joined in the cleanup effort.
I wiped the chairs, windows, and doors.
While Giorno has asked for the help of 20 of his neighbors, despite living far away, the group sets off early in the morning to come.
I asked my neighbors if they want to join the cleanup effort. Many of them knew about Tzu Chi, so they agreed right away.
We're extremely happy to be a part of this event. From now on, we'll be able to finish household chores more quickly.
By partaking in the cleanup effort, these volunteers have formed good affinities with participants at the upcoming volunteer training seminar.
TIMA's mission is to safeguard the health of all those in need, no matter the distance. Later, we join TIMA members in Thailand at their monthly free clinic for refugees. But first, we visit the remote region of南庄义台in Taiwan, as TIMA doctors offered physicals for seniors in the area.
Today, TIMA doctor Pan Kun-ying is visiting 92-year-old Mr. Zhang. In the 10 years they have known each other, Dr. Pan has become less like a doctor and more like a caring friend.
In the beginning, his foot was festered. He couldn't walk. He was suffering from cellulitis.
Dr. Pan takes a moment to remind Mr. Zhang to take his medicine. Over the past decade or so, Dr. Pan and his wife, who is a nurse, have traveled throughout Nanzhuang Township to help the seniors living in this remote region. Also conducting health calls is Dr. Chen Jinchen, who is here to check on the health of the centenarian. Dr. Chen says since these seniors don't get out much, the monthly visits from Tzu Chi have become an event that they always look forward to.
Have you taken your medicine?
In the eyes of many of these seniors, these TIMA doctors are no longer healthcare providers, but family that they are reunited with each month. Meanwhile, in Bangkok, Thailand, TIMA volunteers continue to conduct monthly free clinics for the city's refugees. Among the volunteers is Puan, a nurse from Ban Peo Hospital, who has not missed a free clinic since the service began.
Volunteering with Tzu Chi helps me to think clearly. It makes me more efficient at work, and I have also learned how to better serve those in need.
For Lin Xiuqi, who works as a nurse in a maternity ward, Spending her weekends volunteering is her way of recharging her batteries.
Joining the free clinic is like taking a break for me. When I give help to others in need, my heart is at ease and I gain joy.
The children's dental department has become quite popular since it began last month. This month, volunteers set up a drawing station in the waiting area to help those waiting to see a doctor pass the time.
Hazrat Muhammad loved to have mehndi on their hands. But now people used it as a fashion and they make different designs.
As the free clinic ends, volunteers send the refugees on their way home with love and much-needed medication, as both parties look forward to the next medical outreach.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Indonesia recently visited the organization's care recipients in Riau province. Let's see how the volunteers are helping children and their families overcome both material and physical obstacles to realize their dreams.
With her new hearing aid compliments of Tzu Chi, this young girl can now realize her dreams of finishing school and becoming a doctor. And thanks to his new hearing aid, a whole new world has opened up for Alif. It was a 3-hour drive for the volunteers to Riau province, but a smile made it all worthwhile.
Finding time depends on how much we want to participate. To be able to join today's event, I put in overtime last night so that others won't have to cover for me today.
Volunteers next visit 4-year-old Fairly, who received a life-saving surgery when she was 1 thanks to Tzu Chi. Her mother later adopted a bamboo bank in gratitude. Tzu Chi also helped middle school student Intan receive needed surgery. Now fully recovered, Intan does her best to spread Tzu Chi's message to others and is currently training to be a volunteer herself.
It is like the Master said, seeing suffering, we understand what our blessings really are.
Bringing love and care to Riau province, these Tzu Chi volunteers find themselves also changed for the better.
A medical team from Hualien City Hospital's Cancer Center recently conducted home visitations for cancer patients in Fengling and Jian townships. With their love and care, the team hopes to show patients that they are not alone during their battle with cancer.
A group of medical professionals and Tzu Chi volunteers arrive at the home of Huang Wenxing, who was too shy to come meet them. Learning of the team's intention, Huang finally came downstairs to consult with the doctor. The medical team from Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital's Cancer Center has been following up with cancer patients and bringing them nutritional supplements.
During our visit today, we evaluated his problem. I think what works well is to discuss his condition while also giving him tips on staying healthy.
Next, the medical team came to the house of Li Yingzhou and his wife, who were delighted to see them.
They are so kind to us, so I quickly prepared to welcome them. When I heard that they were on their way here and that they were checking up on other patients first, I felt so much thanks.
Through medical consultation and love, Tzu Chi's medical team is giving patients to support and courage to face and win their battle against cancer.
Tzu Chi care recipient Vijaya from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, has 5 children, 2 of whom suffer a rare genetic disorder which causes degeneration of the nervous system. To help give this mother the strength to care for her children, volunteers visit the family on a regular basis. Recently, volunteers also returned with a special gift.
The Mandela lies motionless in a vegetative state since developing Caraba disease at 6 years old. Over the past 7 years, he has been robbed of his intelligence and vision. Now his life is sustained by a feeding tube.
It has been hard caring for him. Thankfully, Tzu Chi volunteers bring us diapers and visit on a monthly basis.
Vijaya's second son, Kamala Sharang, also suffers from the disease, but his condition is not as severe as his younger brother.
When we first saw him, he was basically crawling on the floor as he couldn't stand. Both of his legs have become deformed.
It has been difficult for Vijaya to care for the 2 of her 5 children who suffer this rare genetic disorder. Thankfully, Tzu Chi volunteers in Kuala Lumpur have been giving her their support.
Today, we have brought Kamala Sharang a wheelchair. At least with it, he can go outside and interact with other children. Currently, he is confined to his home and cannot go outside. He can only interact with the people here. With the elevator broken, he cannot even go outside.
I want to say thank you. I don't know how else to express my gratitude. I really appreciate the help of the Tzu Chi volunteers. They're like angels sent from the heavens.
Thanks to the volunteer support, Vijaya now has the energy and strength to face the days ahead.
To celebrate upcoming Seniors Day, which falls on October 21st in Taiwan, Tzu Chi volunteers in New Taipei City visited 2 senior centers to spread the festive atmosphere.
Classic Chinese oldie, The Moon Represents My Heart, has the seniors of this home remembering a time when they were young. To celebrate the upcoming Double Ninth Festival, also known as Seniors Day, volunteers visited the senior home in New Taipei City's Wugu to spend some time with the residents there.
Seeing their faces light up at our performance, we gain a sense of happiness as well.
Looking at how happy the seniors are and how much our brothers enjoy their time here, I am deeply moved.
The seniors grin from ear to ear as they play a game of ping pong with the volunteers. At this nursing home in Xindian, volunteers get the seniors' spirits up by challenging the residents to a game of table tennis. A children's Latin dancing club also came to perform for the elderly. To thank the children for their efforts, a resident of the home gave the performers a gift. At the end of the event, both seniors and volunteers walked away with a warm feeling in their hearts while looking forward to their next encounter.
In Kaohsiung, Taiwan, a fire broke out on the first floor of an apartment building. Fortunately, no one was injured when the fire broke out. However, as the homeowner is a single mother struggling to raise 2 children on her own, she had no means to repair the home. Thankfully, volunteers mobilized to come to the family's rescue. Thank you for watching Tzu Chi This Week. Goodbye.